This is my spelling and writing analysis for Paisley, who is a first grade student. I, Miss Simpson, have analyzed her PSI and a writing sample to identify the spelling stage that Paisley is in. So I'm going to start by looking at the PSI that I scored, and this is the feature guide, and this is her spelling inventory. She was assessed on the first 15 words of the PSI. So the first thing we're going to look at is the initial and final consonants, which Paisley spelled or represented all correctly. So we see all of those, and in cases even when the word was not completely spelled correctly, like number 5 right here, which was supposed to be hope, but was spelled as hop, Paisley represented the initial H and the final P, both consonants in that word. I have notes that I have on Paisley that have helped me to assess her and correctly identify her strengths, needs, and her stage. So we're going to look at the initial consonants, which is typically in the late emergent stage. So we know that Paisley is not in that one. She has already gone past that. And we're also looking at final consonants, which is in the early letter name alphabetic stage, and she has all of those correct. So the next thing we're going to look at is her short vowels. So Paisley got 7 out of 7 short vowels here. So we can see all of those were represented. I'm going to go back to her sample. So she, in this word, used the U, correct, sled, the E. We're going to look at stick, which was not spelled correctly, but she still did represent the short vowel I in that word. So we know that Paisley has a good knowledge and foundation of using short vowels, which is pretty typical of the letter name alphabetic stage. And then we are going to look at digraphs and blends. Digraphs and blends were where Paisley did not score as high, but we also have to remember that she was not tested on all the words with digraphs and blends. We see there were only 3 words with digraphs that she was assessed on, and she got 3 out of 3 correct. So Paisley has a strong or good foundation of digraphs. Now, if we look at blends, I identified that as one of Paisley's needs because she represented 3 blends correctly in the words she was testing on, including the bl blend, BL, and the FR blend. However, 2 of these were not represented right here, the ST, and right here, CR, or not CR, excuse me, it was DR. So we know that Paisley needs a little more practice on her blends. So when I scored her PSI, we can see that 7 out of 7, 7 out of 7 here, 7 out of 7 here, 3 out of 7, and 3 out of 7 here. Now when I added together all of these features, I got 20, which puts Paisley in the late letter name alphabetic stage. And the reason I know she is not within word pattern is because she was unable to identify any of the common long vowels. So we need to work on mastering the blends first before she's moved into that stage. And I also looked at her writing sample, and I'm going to share what I found. If we look at what Paisley wrote, we see she wrote a short piece here. So what you typically see with students who are at this stage is a pattern of disfluency. So words are written sound by sound and the composition length is limited. So this is a short composition. It's about a sentence. So students in this stage are learning to transition from sentence to paragraph. And this writing sample is mostly readable to anyone who understands the logic of the letter name strategy. And in this case, the majority of these words are readable. There are certain words such as this one that I made a note on. And I believe she meant to spell get based on the context of the rest of the words here. And the majority of it is readable. Besides that, she has some misspelled or missed short vowels right here. So she represented it, but it was the incorrect short vowel. We saw that she represented all initial and final sounds. So we see the CM in here, and I believe this was supposed to be the word come, but she did not include the correct short vowel, but she did represent initial and final consonants. On this right here, I was unsure of the exact word that she meant to say. And then we see that she represented one blend right here. Now, we noted that in her PSI, she needed to work on blends, and this pretty much lines up because she represented one blend, but I believe she had more words with blends. There might be a couple there that were not correct, so we'll keep working on that, but it's good to know that she has that foundation. Right here, we have a note on her synchrony of literacy development. So a lot of times, the synchrony of literacy development might not be totally on point with what the PSI is indicating, but it appears that Paisley is at the same stage. She's at the beginning writing stage, which is very on par with the late letter name alphabetic stage. So her writing and her spelling, even though her spelling seems to be slightly stronger, seem to be advancing at the same rate. So we know that with her instruction, we should proceed at levels and activities that are for late letter name alphabetic students and beginning writers. So after identifying Paisley's strengths and needs, I believe we can formulate a strong instructional plan to help her progress through her writing and her spelling.